ESPN app, Sirius XM Channel 80, and ESPN2. So how much longer will Kevin Durant's address be that close to the seaport by Pier 17? If Kevin Durant has his way, not much longer. Letting the Brooklyn Nets know, hey, you got to move on from Steve Nash as coach and Sean Marks as general manager. Or that's the only way I'm going to stay. Now, back in April, check out what Kevin Durant had to say about how he felt about Steve Nash and what he was doing as a head coach.
I think he's done a great job. I mean, the last 2 years, he's been dealt a wild hand, injuries, trades, disgruntled players, like guys in and out the lineup, stuff that he can't control. And I felt like, he handled it as best as he could.
So, JWill, that was back then.
I'm so confused, Freddie.
Welcome to my world.
I don't know what's going on.
Okay, so what does he really want?
I don't know. That's a great question. It's a great question. Is it to play with Kyrie? Is it not to play with Kyrie for long term? Is it Sean Marks and Steve Nash gone? I'm really confused. Key, do you have any insight?
No, I don't. You would be the one having the insight. All I could do is go off of what I'm hearing, what I'm seeing, and what little bit I get from people that I do know. I understand what he said about Steve Nash several months ago and at the end of the season and all those sort of things. I get that, but he is entitled to change his mind on this thought process because these things continue to evolve over time as you continue to go. I don't have a problem with Kevin Durant at all asking for a trade publicly or whatever the case is. If you fire Steve Nash and Sean Marks, then maybe I'll stay. The problem is the owner, Joe Tsai, has to make a decision. And his decision is, if I fire the two individuals that was requested to be fired, now what do I do with Kevin Durant? Is he going to come back or is he going to still want me to trade him? On top of that, I have a duty and an obligation for the rest of the owners in the NBA to not just serve up to a player whatever a player wants. I understand that players in the NBA, superstars like Kevin Durant and LeBron James and Magic Johnson of the past, they can get coaches fired, head coaches. But when you start talking about head coaches and general managers together, that's a bit much. Because what if it doesn't work out? What if you don't ultimately win a championship in those 4 years that you still got Kevin Durant there? You're just a mediocre basketball team or just slightly above. Now what do? And if the Joe Tsai, what I would say is you need to grant Kevin Durant his wishes and move him, because if you set this precedent for the rest of the NBA owners, that may not be a good thing, because every time a star player decides that he wants the general manager and the head coach gone, then owners are going to be up against it. So there's a lot of thinking to be done.
Freddie, Key, I love mucky negotiations. I love it when it gets in the trenches and it gets awkward and it gets emotional.
Right.
And that's where I remove myself away from all that and I look at it objectively. Hell no am I just going to grant you to force my hand in this trade. Hell no. And you talk about setting a precedent. I'm going to set the precedent the other way, is that this is my franchise, and that until I get equivalent value in assets returned for you, KD, I cannot move you, man. I cannot move you. Now, if you want to go to the season, September 26th is the start of training camp. If you want to go to that point where it's an inflection point and not play, then we're going to have to deal with that. We're going to have to bring in the commissioner, Adam Silver. It's going to get really mucky. It's going to get really ugly. But if I'm Joe Tsai, I'm just not moving heaven and earth for Kevin Durant. I've done that before.
Yeah.
I've done that.
And it hasn't worked.
And it hasn't worked. So I'm looking at this saying, okay, there might be, if you're willing to meet me, there might be some wiggle room with Steve Nash here. There might be. Sean Marks, no way. But might be with Steve Nash. Maybe we can figure that out. Maybe. But I'm not going to allow you just to change up everything. But I've seen Daryl Morey and Ben Simmons go through this for most of the year. We're going to wait it out until we get equal value in return, Key.
But those are two different situations, as you know, Jay.
I understand.
Ben Simmons' situation is totally different
I understand.
than Kevin Durant's. And I understand where you coming from, waiting it out, but you as an owner is doing a disservice to the community of Brooklyn and the Nets fans.
No, I'm not.
You would be doing a disservice to them by trying to sit on him and tell him he has to either play or sit and you want to waste your career for the next 4 years. What if, and I know it won't happen, but what if Kevin Durant said, I don't care? And now you putting out there a unit on the floor where you ain't winning no games trying to be spiteful in this situation, opposed to moving on from a guy that doesn't want to be there. You can't force him to play for Steve Nash and be around Sean Marks as a general manager. Even though Kevin Durant, I'm assuming, this is only rumors, I guess, had sign-off and final say on the Steve Nash hiring. As I said to you before, Jay, you can always return something that you buy. And I think in this situation, Steve Nash, Kevin Durant is looking to return. But you also can't be Josiah and just cave in to firing a coach and a general manager to keep a player. You may be able to fire the coach. We've seen that happen before in the past where star players have had coaches fired and they went on to win championships. But both, that's really hard to do.
Key, so much of this conversation has to do with how stories are framed, right? So force you're the one, operative word, force. You've had a hand in how we've gotten here. I'm not forcing you to do. I'm making you look in the mirror and having some accountability for what you helped create it, number one. Number two, you talk about disservice to the fan base. I'm actually doing a service to the fan base. Because what I'm saying to my fan base is, if I have the best player in the world, I'm not going to take less and have a team literally run over me, because now if I'm the Toronto Raptors, I can sit there and say, well, I'm not going to give you Scottie Barnes. Your hand is going to be forced. You have to be the first trade I gave you with Pascal Siakam and draft picks, all this, whatever it is, that's what you have to take. Or if you're the Celtics, Jaylen Brown and Derek White, that's what it is. I'm not going to give you Marcus Smart, because now you're going to end up losing, and it's still, I'm not going to lose on that, Key. That's doing a disservice to the fan base.
I understand your point of value, Jay, but that value was diminished months ago.
But it's not.
Months ago. The value was diminished months ago. Once it became a public situation, at that point in time, everyone knows the pulse of Kevin Durant. People think, so he loves basketball to the point where he won't do this. You don't know that.
Let me ask you this question, because if we both owned our own teams, and we talk a lot about things from the player perspective, I'm curious, Key, would you be a team, would you trade for Kevin Durant? Like if you were the Boston Celtics, I'm asking if you were running the Boston Celtics.
Absolutely, 100%.
Okay, so let me ask you this, Key. You ready for this? Follow me. You tell me why you think it would be different. If there was drama following KD and OKC, can we agree on that?
I mean, yeah, we could agree on that.
Was there drama following KD in Golden State, even though it led to championships?
I think that, okay, so here's what I would say. Hold on. You let me give you my answer.
Okay.
You never let me give you the answer. All right. What I would say is the drama at OKC was between him and his teammate in Westbrook. So he decided he couldn't win with Westbrook. He moved on.
Okay.
The drama in Golden State was a carryover. This is just me. Was a carryover, the way I'm evaluating it as an owner, was a carryover from the fallout at OKC, helped fueled by the media, which then caught fire in Golden State. Now go ahead.
Okay. So we agree that there was drama in both places.
Yes.
Okay. Was there drama in Brooklyn?
Yes.
So if there's drama in 1, 2, 3 places, what would make you think there isn't going to be drama in the next place?
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that I don't want him.
Yeah, but here's the follow-up question.
I'm okay with that drama.
Here's the follow-up question. Because in Golden State, even though there was drama, you had 2 superstars that had no drama, and Klay Thompson and Steph Curry. So whatever team that he goes to next, do you have the stars that, regardless of whatever comes along with KD, it's been consistent in his career? It can minimize that. Do you want to do that to Jason Tatum? A young star in this league?
Here's what I would say.
I don't think so.
Here's what I would, but here's what I would say. That drama that has followed KD around all started when he left OKC. Because at OKC, it wasn't the drama to the end. And then it just followed him and carried him. And the drama in Brooklyn, it's the it had more to do with Kyrie not being there, and then James Harden not wanting to be there because of Kyrie's absence. And all of a sudden, KD got caught up in the middle of it and said, I can't deal with this anymore. It's too much pressure. If I'm a team and I'm willing to go trade for him because, again, as you said, most dominant 1-2 player in the whole world, right? 1-2 in the whole world, you wouldn't want that? Because I would argue with you if we had time that a lot of drama followed LeBron James at every spot he's ever been at.
Oh, but LeBron James
guess
impacts,
He's winning championships doing it.
I will never compare LeBron James to KD. LeBron James impacts a franchise in a
I'm
drastically different way.
I'm comparing the drama.
I'm talking about leadership.
effect.
I'm talking about all of it, communication.
Yeah, but that's
all
not
of
what
it.
you said. You
I
said
understand,
drama.
But I'm saying there are different kinds. All I'm saying to you, Key, is I get what Kevin Durant, the value is. I understand that. But the value for the trade assets in return now, I like that. I like it for Pascal Siakam and some picks. I like it for Jaylen Brown and some picks. But I don't like it if you're asking me to give up Marcus Smart and the culture of my team. I need my culture to handle that comes along with KD.
In 20 minutes, we'll continue this discussion, and we'll try to get to the answer. Is KD, despite his talent, worth all that drama? We'll do that in 20 minutes here. Keyshawn, JWill, and Max. Keyshawn Johnson, Jay Williams, Freddie Coleman, in for Max Kellerman on ESPN Radio. And we're going to get to the hot and not next when it comes to that Matthew Stafford elbow with the Los Angeles Rams. That's after